welcome back to the channel. I'm Ron. Obviously, you're here to find out more about ReelSteady Go 2.0, which officially released this past Friday, or officially, I guess it's still called ReelSteady. It's no longer a standalone app, which we're all used to. Now, it's tied or part of the GoPro Player desktop app, as shown here. And it's worth noting that there's nothing in the GoPro Player desktop app that identifies it as ReelSteady Go 2.0 versus the 1.0. As of this new release, when you go to the original ReelSteady Go homepage, you're simply going to find a error message. It's a 404 page not found error message on the page, and a new link to what's called the GoPro Player Plus ReelSteady app. And first, let's start with some really good news. The new ReelSteady Go 2.0 is completely free if you've previously owned the original version of ReelSteady, the version 1, which, like myself, is what I had. And it's also detailed as well on the following page. When you go to this specific page, you're going to see, and I'm going to leave links below to this as well. If you're an owner of the previous ReelSteady Go app product, you're entitled to a free upgrade to the premium version of the GoPro Player Plus ReelSteady. And if you're not sure how to upgrade from the original version, you can click the link here for upgrade instructions. Again, links all below. It's pretty straightforward. I personally received an email on Friday, April 8th, notifying me of the new software release, the official release. And in that email was an actual activation key for the app itself. But don't worry, if you didn't get that email this past Friday, you can contact GoPro support according to their website. Now, it's worth noting that the GoPro Player desktop app supports both Windows and Mac, so just download the version that's specific to you. One quick observation, when I first launched the app, the Windows version has 3 file formats under the export settings. You have Cineform, HEVC, and H.264, while under the macOS version, you actually have HEVC, H.264, and ProRes, Apple ProRes. Now, I didn't see this mentioned in any other videos, so I wanted to specifically point this out. The difference is subtle, and I found that GoPro actually owns the Cineform format, and it's designed for high editing resolution footage content like 4K or higher. Now, along the same lines, Apple owns ProRes, which is also designed for your higher end video resolutions. Now, what's nice is the newer software release, you can choose the codec you want to export to. Each one has its own advantages and disadvantages, so play around with the export settings to get the most out of your footage. Now, here's a sample of footage that I shot just the other day. We finally got some nice weather here, and in my opinion, the video quality of each looks pretty good, and you'll be hard-pressed to see the difference, at least within the YouTube compression software. But I still wanted to share with you what these different exports look like so you could look at it for yourself. The biggest difference is obviously with the file sizes, and clearly the Cineform codec is going to give you the largest file size, but it also provides you the most information in the footage if you're working, doing some sort of professional work. Now, the new ReelSteady is compatible with all video modes, including Hypersmooth for the GoPro Hero 10, Hero 9, and Hero 8 cameras. Let me say that again. It doesn't matter if you have Hypersmooth on or off. If you own the GoPro Hero 10, 9, or 8 cameras, ReelSteady will still work in the new app. Now, with that being said, anything prior to the Hero 8, like the Hero 6 and the Hero 7, are still going to require Hypersmooth or any other electronic image stabilization to be shut off to be used with the new version ReelSteady. And again, I'll leave some links below to reference this additional detail as well. Here's a detailed breakdown of all the GoPro camera capabilities with the new ReelSteady 2.0. You'll notice the only shooting modes not supported are the following 3 modes: video performance mode, max lens mode, and narrow digital lens. Everything else is good to go. Now, with that said, with all the other GoPro cameras, turn Hypersmooth or in-camera stabilization off. And I'm going to demo this for you in just a second so you can see exactly what we're dealing with. And highlights of the new player with ReelSteady are, it's got a new and improved user interface. As I mentioned, the new ReelSteady 2.0 is fully integrated into the GoPro Player desktop app. You have significantly more shooting modes available to you for stabilization with ReelSteady. You have a real-time playback. You can actually view the full quality stabilization footage with within the app itself. Several encoding options, now things like Cineform, ProRes, HEVC, and H.264 as previously mentioned. And you can save your settings and preferences to apply to future footage. You also got adjustable lens correction, so you can just choose how much fisheye or any type of fisheye that you want in the final output of your videos. And I'll also mention that the app is fully optimized for Apple Silicon, the M1, M2, Pro Max, and Ultra machines. Now, I'll just quickly walk you through the process with one of the videos I shot the other day with, this is the GoPro 10 Black that I was using, and shot with my iFlight Nazgul Evoke 5 FPV quad. Okay, the first thing you're going to notice when you launch the app, it's going to take you here, welcome to GoPro Player, and again, you can see stabilization footage like never before with ReelSteady. Just want to show you the main screens. You're going to come in here too when we're ready to load media. Just click on the open media option here. When you first activate it, you have to come in here. It looks like you're able to use the GoPro Player without ReelSteady. And again, if you had the activation key, you enable it or turn it on over here in the settings. I've already done that, so some of the stuff's shows a little different on my screen. Just want to show you the menus at the top here. So under File, Open. So pretty much you can do the same thing. You can open the media here or come up here and open it from the File menu. Anything you've opened recently, I've opened a bunch of files recently. Your save when you're ready to save your file. And so let's, what else we got here? Full screen mode. Some of these are grayed out right now because they're specific to when I'm actually editing or in the video, changing some settings. Graphic, I'm using my NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050. So it's going to show you whatever graphic cards that you might be using. Again, your ReelSteady option here, if it's enabled, you'll have options available. And then about, this is the new release. This is the 2011456. Again, it came out just this past week on April 8th. So once we, let's say, let me just pick some footage here. I'm going to open some footage from the other day. I'll select this file here. This was, again, shot on my GoPro 10 Black. And open the file, ReelSteady stabilization, improve stabilization. So right here, you can either, apply ReelSteady for improve. I can say yes, or I could close this. Again, I've already activated it. If I want to enable ReelSteady, it's right here in the right-hand corner, and you can scrub through the footage right here. I'll also see some settings up here. Control R, turn on stabilization, right? It's the same thing as if I click it down here in the right-hand corner. And then if I want to expand and see some additional features, I can click the controls here, and then there's a bunch of advanced settings as well. And we can see here, now I'm running screen recording on top of this with OBS, so it might stutter a little bit only because of the background apps running. So you can see here, just play through the footage a little bit. You can scrub through it in real time. The nice thing is, like I said, you can turn the stabilization on or off. So as I'm scrubbing through the footage, I'm playing it, it's off. Now if I turn it on, now it's stabilized. And again, if we open this up here, we've got a bunch of advanced settings. Let me stop this for 1 second. You can adjust the smoothness. I've so far just left everything at the default value, and you can reset it here if you change anything. Haven't done much with the horizon leveling mode, cropping, how fast it's cropping in or out. You can adjust that as well. Lens correction, I'm leaving this at 100%. You start playing with this, you'll see the fisheye. See how it starts to warp on the sides here? So again, you can play around with these depending on the type of lens you're using. And again, what's nice is you're seeing this all in real time as far as what the stabilization is going to look like. So it's really nice. And let me see up here. So if I want to do batch exports, for example, Well, a couple things. I could batch export and do it all here, or I could send this to the queue directly, but let's look at real quick the batch export process. All you would do is from this export menu, add any files that you want to add to the queue. So I've got a bunch of files here. I could either select them one by one or select 4 or 5 of them, whatever I want, open them. It's going to load them all into the queue here. You can add or remove. If I remove one, right? Or if I want to add another one, come back in here, I could add these to the queue. The codec I'm going to use, again, I can select from the Cineform H.264, HVAC, or H.264, HEVC, or Cineform. You can select from any of the codecs. This is 4K footage, 3840 by 2160. You can select the quality based on the codec you're choosing. You're going to have different options. So when you're choosing, for example, I'm using Windows. If I choose Cineform, I'm going to have the option for low, medium, high, film 1, film 2. And if I select, for example, H.264, I'm going to have options to choose the bit rate, to lower the bit rate or raise the bit rate. And then hardware encoding, ReelSteady. I want to turn all this stuff on. And you can simply start. So let me do Cineform, right? I'm going to choose high, and I want ReelSteady enabled. Get to select here, smoothness, cropping, lens, distortion. So I could just simply start this, and this will start processing each file one at a time. And once that one's done, I'll go to the next one, so on and so forth. And then down here at the bottom, you're going to choose the directory you want to export it to, so I can output it right to my desktop or whatever file or folder I want to export it to. I already started processing it, so they cancel out of there, but you can choose where you want the files to actually export to. You can stop or pause these at any time. You could also close that while it's doing the batch process and still go through, and you can still watch your media here. And again, it's a little stuttery because I'm doing screen captures. But if I go back up here to the queue, you can see it's still running in the background. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to remove these files. And let's say I just want to export just this one file that's on my desktop. Once I select all the settings that I want, and again, I'm using pretty much ReelSteady's on, I'm pretty much using the default settings. They look pretty good. And let's see. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to export this file. Again, you can choose here, Cineform. So this is different than batch export. Choose the export codec type. It's a 4K file. ReelSteady is enabled. And I'm going to either send it to the queue or just hit next. And again, you have the options here for the quality that you want based on the codec you're using. So different codecs will have different options available to them. So again, Cineform, it's going to be the biggest file type. Hit next. And I want to drop that on my desktop. Hit save. And it's going to start the export process. It's pretty quick. And let me see, I'm not sure. Yeah, so if I'm exporting the file that's active on the desktop and it's not part of the batch process, it looks like I'll have to wait for this to complete. But if you have multiple files to work with, the batch export's a nice way to do it. So this file is going to be pretty large. I'm just going to cancel it, but it does process pretty quick. And let me see if there's anything else. Send to the queue. No. Mouse control. I just want to see if there's anything else that. Oh, you can obviously pull out a single frame. So let's say there's something in the video footage that you specifically want to grab. You can just come in here, extract current frame, and it's going to extract that and you can use it for whatever you want to use it for later. Let me see. File not saved. No. And I think that is about it as far as it's pretty intuitive. Once you come in here, I think you're not going to have any problem. Send a queue, media information. Oh, the nice thing too is you click on that option here, right? File, media information. It's going to show you, you got your file name, you got your file size, right? 1.3 gig. The video is it's a 4K file, 3840, 2160. The frame rate, shot 30 frames per second, and the duration 1 minute 28 seconds. So it gives you all the detailed information about the file that you pulled up here. Oh, and I didn't mention too, I reduced the volume down here in the lower left-hand corner. But as you're cutting or cropping, right, any of this stuff, export trim, create new trim. You still maintain the audio. So I turned it down, but you can adjust the volume and you don't lose any of the audio while you're doing this recording. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below in the comments and I'll answer any questions you may have to the best of my ability. Keep in mind that I've only had the software for just a few days now and I'm specifically using it on my Windows machine. I don't have Mac, so I'm not as familiar with the settings there. Should be very similar, but I just don't have that operating system. And I hope you found value in this video. If you did, please don't forget to like, maybe even think about subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to say hi, stay tuned because the wife and I are gonna be doing some traveling in the very near future. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.